So I'm gonna let you go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Share this screen. Are we rolling? No, not yet. Here we go. Share.
There it is.
Awesome. Nice.
So
Okay.
I guess if you just want to start by, I mean, what feels natural for you as the artist when you come to the page? What are you thinking? Like what are your first steps to get started here?
First steps. My first steps are generally gestural. I try to get the personality of the character through gesture. So let's see, let's get someone with their hands on their hips, head tilted back, like this kind of direction here with the spine. Let's see, like a kind of like a that kind of defiant shoulders back, head back kind of deal going. So that's usually my first stop is gestural. And then let's see, let's tune this back a bit and build on top of that. And then let's see, let's go with Max. Um, so from here, I just kind of get the general feeling and shape for Max. I'm a real big underdrawer. I know a lot of folks are really great with just like inception and they boom, they knock it right down. And I've always been kind of all those years of life drawing have gotten me really into getting the armature underneath. Because when I go on top, sometimes it's a little stiff when I'm doing the character. Okay, let's see. I think this brush is a little big. No, that's what's going on. All right. And then, all right, get him a little mischievous eyebrow there.
I'm gonna
Got a
say
little.
that smirk is great.
And then let's see. So that's pretty much just little bumps of his hair there. And then from there, I could just kind of tune this one back.
Hmm.
And then I start getting a little more into his face. Eyes are the windows to the soul, as they say. I've heard it said. So let's see. So he's gonna be looking kind of a little bit at us. Little nose, a little bit more smirky. So as you're drawing, you can improve all along the line. You can add things, you can change things, you can expand things. And I generally I like to spin my characters around as I draw. Kind of like something that started when I was working on paper primarily. It was really interesting. I couldn't tape down my paper anymore on the boards because I would just spin the paper around and move my because I was inking with brushes. So if I, you know, a lot of times I had these mishaps where I would stick my the palm of my hand into the brush ink and then things would go really bad. So I had to like learn how to turn the paper away from the ink so that I wouldn't get my palm in it. All right, so here's his trusty headphones. This is pre-camp Max, where he's just kind of living his best life. He's preparing for all of his dreams to come true at Gamerville. He does not yet know what mom has in store for him and what the world has in store for him in the form of Camp Reset, technology-free summer camp, where the big part of his adventure and growth will begin. All right, so get some knuckles going on there, little palm. I encourage all of you who are watching that, drawing hands, which you're not going to see, you're just seeing some knuckles. Work on your hands. A lot of people shy away from hands, but I say tackle it head on. All right, let's since I'm talking about hands, let me get some waist. He's gonna grab onto his waist with this this one. Oh, what's going on here? All right, here we go. All righty. Oh, that hand's a little gnarly, but see, that's why you gotta practice your hands.
I was gonna say I've seen far worse hands in all forms of visual narratives, so you're good.
Especially those AI six-fingered hands.
Oh,
Oops,
nightmare fodder.
exactly. Oh, gotta get away from that eraser. Oh, why am I? There we go. Let's get back to the. I've been drawing with a brush here, but
Mm.
um, you guys can draw with anything that you like. I'm drawing right now on Clip Studio Paint, but I drew many years traditionally with pen and ink and brush. So draw any way that you like. Whatever is fun for you, whatever gets you drawing is the best way. There is no best way except for the way you do it. Here we go. All right, let me clean up his hair. You know, a young gamer has got to have his hair looking right. Here we go. So get his lightning bolt there. So that's kind of an example of a quick little max. Oops. To get his. That's kind of how I draw our friend Max here.
Mm.
Pre-camp Max on his way to, at least in his mind, to glory.
That's right.
And I think with this, I was really into him having he had like I think he had did he have like a red shirt in the beginning
Hmm.
and then red accents on his headphones. I thought that was really cool with the
Hmm.
very very powerful color combination. You want to think about your color combinations. With Gamerville, as with Swim Team, you had the wonderful Hillary Jenkins do color on the book, but the initial character design, I did the colors on those just so Hillary would kind of know what I had in mind with Max in his the colors that I had in my head
Mm.
for his outfit. And then I left her free reign on the camp reset outfit. I had a few suggestions, but for the most part, I think at first they were like blue and her initial attempt, and then I was thinking, well, maybe more of the khaki. But then
Mm.
from there, you know, gave her free reign to contribute to the color there. So there's a quick little roam. I mean, Max.
That's great. So much personality.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I think the gesture underneath is so important because from there um you can build so much
Mm-hmm.
from from your gestures.
So let's say hypothetically you were going to create a new character, either in the Gamerville universe or a brand new story or whatever.
Mhm.
As you're exploring a character's look for the first time, what does that process look like? Could you maybe dabble in trying to create a new face here?
Boy, let's see what can we do here. Uh hmm. All right, let's brainstorm here a little bit. So in Lone Wolf of Calamity Bay, there are the original, you know what I'm gonna do? The original Lone Wolf of Calamity Bay, I was trying to find solitary animals.
Mm,
And before I got to the wolf, which is, once you get to the wolf, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That has got to be the one. Um, but some of the original ones were the one that I settled on for a while was a duckbill platypus, which I did not know was a solitary animal until the internet told me so as I was like looking around. And I don't quite really remember what one looks like right now as I'm drawing, which is better actually, because then you get more freedom for character design. So let's draw a duckbill platypus video game character if, you know, Calamity Bay was the duckbill platypus of Calamity Bay.
I really hope he ends up with the tie, but I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Here we go. Make it collaborative. Here we go. Instead of striped, we'll go checkered.
There it is.
Okay, so now, so we've got a rough under drawing of our duckbill platypus. And let's see, the next layer. Let's see, let's think about eyes again, windows to the soul. I don't know what the eyes look like, but I'm gonna give him sort of rings, like a kind of a deeper, penetrating kind of stare. You know, now do we think he should look confused? Should he look confident? Should he look maybe a little worried, like, oh my goodness, am I gonna be able to save this flooding city? And let me turn down the opacity here on the background. Give him a little with our friend Watson. I gave him a little spiky hair thing to
Mm.
reference Max's hair thing. So we have some echoes. It's nice to have some visual echoes all throughout the piece so that your reader at a glance will quickly identify our friend Watson with our friend Max. Okay. Let me give him some kind of stress lines like, oh my goodness, I can't believe. And this is the thing about drawing, it starts to, as you're drawing, things start to happen. So as I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, let's get him a little worried. He's like, he doesn't know what's gonna happen with this city. And let's say our duckbill platypus is not a museum guard, but what's a good profession to have for a solitary character in a sinking city?
He looks like a banker to me, but
Okay. Well, let's give him a little top hat. We're going Monopoly banker. Uh, yeah, he's very worried that his big bags of money are gonna float away with the sinking city. So, like any good banker, he's not gonna get on out there and, you know, get his, you know, get into all these crazy adventures. He's gonna utilize his resource, which is money. So he's going to hire people to go do it. So this is going to be a much less entertaining story because it's going to be about this guy behind a desk making calls, fervently making, and he's alone in his giant duck pill. What kind of lair? I would imagine it's a watery type lair,
hmm
kind of like a beaver's type lair. So he's there
Oh, he's got
making,
the suit too. Very nice.
yeah, gotta have a suit.
That's
This
right. Yeah.
is a professional. All right. So he's on the horn. Let's give him the classic animated character I mean, three finger, one thumb sort of situation. That's a little nubbin, not a finger here. And he's on the phone, just kind of like trying to make sure. And of course, he's got like you know, the latest type of phone. I leave that to our to your imagination, whether you're an iPhone or a an Android type person, whichever phone you think best, but it's just going to be a brick, a technological brick. And okay, so let's see. All right, let's get rid of that layer. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but being an artist, of course, now I want to improve on him a little bit and get those eyes a little more clarified. A lot more worried, kind of bigger, a lot more emotion there, a lot more panic. Ay, 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 my money. No, the city is thinking again. Who do I call? Who do I blame?
I love seeing this personality develop as like he just becomes more and more defined. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really fun part of the process, and that's why I leave it for last because once this starts to happen, it's so hard to go back and like throw all this stuff away because the longer we spend with this duckbill platypus, the more we know him, you know? And once you know him, to know him is to love him.
So you mentioned that earlier iterations he was going to be a duckbill platypus. I assume you never set out drawing a duckbill platypus, though.
No, I had a my first duckbill platypus was a drawing of Max in a duckbill platypus outfit. Because it started with like voiceover,
Mm,
and I was trying to think of a way to have us quickly recognize him as the duckbill platypus. So I was thinking maybe he would have an avatar that he built that kind of looked like him and in a duckbill platypus suit. And I also always loved the Tanuki suit in the
mm,
Super Mario Brothers 3, the flying, you
hmm.
know, raccoon-like creature from Japan. So I was thinking the duckbill platypus would kind of have a little bit of that to him. Let's see. Can we improve? Where can we improve on our duckbill platypus and his how do we make him more bankery?
I don't know. He's looking pretty good to me.
Do we improve the hat? We can always do like a little bit of a no, no. A smaller hat would make him look too modest. This guy, this guy's gonna save his town one phone call at a time, which is which is very noble. Shout out to all the bankers out there.
Especially of duckbill platypus kind.
Yes. All right, let's pull this phone back a little bit from his bill. And he's very, very concerned about bills, being a banker.
A plus for that.
I think. And then, when you're goofing around like this, that's when you could kind of come up with names. Like maybe we call him like Bill would be a very easy way to go, but you could start playing with variations on that. You could start doing all sorts of I like to write out a list of names. I have a list of names on my notes app actually of all these like names that I hope to use one day, or just if I hear a cool name, I'll kind of reference that.
You beat me to it. I was going to ask you now if you had to name him, what would you name him? But I think Bill. How do you do better than Bill?
Yeah, right. Duck Bill. Here comes old Duck Bill. His life was so happy before the city started to flood. He had it all sorted out. And that's how I would write him as well.
Mm.
Generally speaking, you want to have your characters start off thinking they know how the world's going to go. Things are great. Things are going well down at the bank. He's planning for his big vacation. And then boom, the city's sinking. What now? And then that sets our duck bill, like just like we did with our friend Watson, on an adventure to try and set the world right. But in so doing, they learn something about themselves that actually makes them better than they were before they started. And that's a really fun key to storytelling, that the thing that our character thinks is the worst thing that ever happened to them turns out to be maybe one of the best things that ever happened to them. So I can go on forever with this. We can or
No,
now we
I got lost in his piercing blue eyes.
making little apps on his phone.
There you go.
What kind of apps would a duckbill platypus have? I guess uh, we're brainstorming. We're going to think about water levels. We're going to think about the bug levels of the town because I would imagine they eat bugs, right? I
I
would
think
imagine.
so.
So
Yeah.
this is very important. We're going to have a little app for that. We're going to have an app for when you can wade in the water best. We have a little app for sunlight. Uh,
Needs that investment app too.
oh yeah, little investment app. Good call. Make it look like a little money bag. Buy, buy, sell, sell. Um, every good duckbill platypus. Oh, I'm out of room here. Must keep an eye on investments.
It's the quote of the day.
Let's see. Yeah. So I guess and then with design, of course, you're gonna make this look like a water drop, make this bug one look like a little bug. It's fun. Little legs. Pew, pew, pew.
And I feel like these are the details too that would come across on the page. Like you would, if there was a panel where you could see his phone, you would see these apps with those little icons. So it's neat to see this development process.
Exactly. And this is the sort of thing that happens only at the drawing level for me.
Mm,
Like because you start, making voices for them, you start kind of, you know, thinking about how they do things. Like I didn't know this guy was worried until we drew the worried eyes, right? And now that he's worried, that 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 begs the question, what's Duckbill worried about? You know? Then that starts to expand Duckbill's character and Duckbill's world. And that's why the drawing is like another form of writing as far as I'm concerned.
Did that, you mentioned the lightning bolt with Max and that being something that came across, but did his personality change? Like, I assume you knew his personality pretty well as you went into drawing him, but as you were drawing him, did you realize, oh my gosh, he's also this?
Yeah, when Max started, he was a little bit more of a jerk,
Mm.
actually.
Oh,
He was and then as I started to draw him, I started thinking like, oh, this kid is not a jerk. He's just, he's just a bit lonely and he doesn't really have friends and he doesn't really kind of know how to go about them. And he thinks he's gonna get these friends through achievement.
mm,
Um, but but yeah, so yeah, that really changed his personality, and it had a really big change on the story because his interactions with others weren't weren't very jerky. They were, if anything, like he just kind of wasn't seeing the world very clearly,
mm.
but he was not that jerky. I'm gonna give this duckbill high water kind of pants because walking around in a very um, waterlogged world. So, but shoes have got to be, this person's doing serious business out there. So gotta have let's see, we'll have some kind of lace ups, broguing on the little toes and heels because that's important. And I think we're gonna have to go with Argyle's socks
Mm,
because,
always.
always ties. And the Argyles is a fun little happy accident, is now doing they sort of echo our tie,
Mm.
but instead of going in that direction, they're going in another direction. So when you're drawing, you have all these fun little discoveries that kind of start to happen on your road to your character. And then another fun thing to do is that you can I'm gonna give Duckbill, can't quite see him here, but I'm gonna give Duckbill suspenders.
Yes.
So we're gonna reference one suspender. Well, we're gonna cheat a little and reference two. Of course, these suspenders would be much further back, but we're having a little fun here. So maybe Duckbill, maybe Duckbill's shoulders are a little bit closer than normal, so the suspenders would be a lot closer. And of course now we can do another pattern, right? So we have the Argyles, we've got this kind of checker thing. Um, I would do vertical stripes, but then you wouldn't be able to see it so well with
Mm,
the vertical striping. So let's go
mm.
horizontal striping. And of course, this gives your character some interesting sort of lines and patterns give a sort of a gray quality
Mhm.
to your um to your drawing.
Mm.
So which helps create a bit of dimensionality, creates more visually interesting stuff for your character. So yeah,
E-
so there's like Bill with a very worried look, very long arm, and you see a very and the phone's talking.
I was gonna say, even if we hadn't heard you talk through his evolution, just looking at him now, there's just so much you can read into him. So again, this is cool to see this presumably named Bill come to life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that was super fun.